Jenna Ortega didn't just return as Wednesday Addams in this new season. This time, she took full control. What started as a breakout role in Season 1 has become a full-blown creative evolution for Ortega, who stepped up not only as the star of Netflix's hit Gothic series, but also as an executive producer, and her fingerprints are all over the new season. Season 2 of Wednesday dials everything up to 11. It's darker, more twisted, gorier, and a whole lot stranger in the best way possible. But behind the eerie atmosphere and blood-soaked scenes is Ortega, pouring everything she's got into making this version of Wednesday the most authentic and evolved yet. She really lived the role, whether that meant journaling in character, brainstorming with Tim Burton, or sprinting through the rain-soaked hills of Ireland while fighting off supernatural threats. That meant Ortega had to bring not just physical stamina, but also serious mental focus. She approached each day like an athlete, waking up early, hydrating like crazy, stretching between takes, and managing constant soreness from the long shoot days. She didn't just have to survive intense physical scenes, she had to own them. And all this while being responsible for the bigger creative picture behind the camera as well. Acting and producing is a big deal for anyone, let alone someone still in their early 20s. It meant she was in meetings about story direction, working with directors, helping to guide character arcs, and making sure the tone and pacing felt true to the world of Wednesday. She was working to shape the entire vision for Season 2. It was more responsibility, longer hours, and a whole lot of pressure, but Ortega didn't shy away from any of it. If anything, it fueled her. To stay grounded in Wednesday's character, especially during the long, emotionally draining days, Ortega started journaling as Wednesday. In between takes, she'd write down thoughts in character, using it as a tool to stay locked into Wednesday's mindset. This was her way of living inside the character, keeping that eerie calm and sharp edge alive even when the cameras weren't rolling. The result of all this effort? A Wednesday Addams who's colder, smarter, more emotionally complex, and even deadlier than before. Ortega has transformed Wednesday into a version that feels natural and incredibly authentic. One thing Jenna Ortega has been really upfront about lately is that playing Wednesday Addams isn't always a walk in the park. Sure, it looks cool and spooky on screen, but behind the scenes, it's intense work. And sometimes it gets downright tough. The days on set are long, the emotional weight of the character is heavy, and the whole vibe of Wednesday, stoic, isolated, carrying trauma under that cold exterior, can get pretty draining. Ortega has talked about this in several interviews, including one with People, where she described filming Season 2 as feeling like a crawl to the finish line. Of course, she mentions how proud she is of what she accomplished, but it wasn't easy. She had to find some new ways to keep herself grounded and sane through it all. That's where journaling and meditation came in. Journaling might seem simple, but for Jenna, it became a vital tool to make sense of the long, emotionally taxing days. Wednesday is a character who hardly shows her feelings on the outside, but ironically, playing someone so closed off meant Ortega had to do a lot more emotional processing on her own. After 12 to 14-hour shoots, she'd sit down and write, using journaling as a way to put Wednesday down for the night and come back to being Jenna. It was her way to decompress and separate the character's heavy mood from her own. Meditation was another big piece of the puzzle. Ortega made it a point to meditate early in the mornings before call time. She said it helped her create some mental space between herself and the character, which is super important when you're playing someone as intense as Wednesday. It gave me the space to be quiet and reset, she explained. The quiet and stillness of the Irish countryside where they filmed actually made this a lot easier for her. Being surrounded by misty hills, old castles, and endless greenery made it feel natural to slow down, breathe, and tap into that calm, introspective place. But it wasn't just meditation and journaling that helped Jenna stay balanced. She also leaned into long solo walks. Between scenes, she'd take advantage of the stunning, sometimes eerie landscapes around her. Whether it was wandering through Wicklow's dense forests, exploring Offaly's ancient ruins, or strolling along Dublin's foggy coastlines, these moments were more than just pretty scenery for Jenna. They gave her literal breathing room and a chance to reset mentally and emotionally before stepping back into Wednesday's intense, lonely world. Those walks were a perfect way for her to reconnect with herself, away from the pressure of the set and the weight of the character. They helped her find balance and peace, even in the middle of all the chaos. It's kind of wild to think about, but those quiet, solitary walks through spooky Irish forests actually became a kind of mental sanctuary for Ortega. Season 1 proved Jenna Ortega had serious instincts for Wednesday Addams. Season 2 showed she was also a storyteller. As we mentioned, she had a producer credit which gave her a seat at the table when it came to character direction, script tone, and visual storytelling. One of the coolest things to come out of this new role? Her evolving creative partnership with Tim Burton. Ortega and Burton work in a rhythm that's half awkward and half magical. They both hate the press, mumble a lot, and seem to communicate in creative shorthand. But when it comes to shaping Wednesday's journey, they're in real sync. One of their shared tools in Season 2 was emotional storyboarding. They'd meet in between shoots or on off days to sketch out key emotional beats, not just lines, but vibes. How does Wednesday physically react to grief? What does betrayal look like when your face doesn't move much? How do you sell heartbreak without ever using the word? Ortega brought her own ideas about Wednesday's posture, speech rhythm, and eye contact to the table. Burton, in turn, offered visual references, from classic horror to old German expressionist films. They were building Wednesday's emotional arc with the same precision you'd see in an animated feature, frame by frame and reaction by reaction. Let's now talk about Ireland. Filming Season 2, they're completely changed the feel of the show and Ortega's relationship to it. Gone were the gloomy Romanian castles from Season 1. This time, Wednesday took up residence in County Wicklow, Dublin, and Offaly. The team filmed at Ashford Studios, Charleville Castle, and even Dean's Grange Cemetery, each location dripping with eerie beauty. In interviews with The Sun and the Irish Examiner, she gushed about the kindness of the Irish people, the peacefulness of the countryside, and the magic of the locations. But her biggest surprise was how green everything was. "We had to fight the green," she joked, referring to the production challenge of trying to make Wednesday look lifeless against such vibrant, living backdrops. What started as a joke turned into a creative inspiration. Ortega leaned into the stark contrast. As Wednesday walks through these ancient, myth-rich environments, it makes her feel even more like an outsider. That visual contrast elevated the character's sense of isolation a lot more. She even started researching Irish folklore to help connect with the supernatural tone of the season. Creatures from Irish myths, ghost stories, banshees, and even references to Samhain shaped how she understood the horror tone this time around. The use of practical effects, which Ortega specifically praised, also made the gore more solid. She had to learn how to respond to prosthetics, blood rigs, and mechanical props that weren't added in later with CGI. One scene involved her covered in blood from head to toe, reacting in real time to squelching, sticky, very real-feeling effects. Her reactions had to feel instinctual, but still true to Wednesday's detached persona. That balance, visceral panic from the audience's side, total composure from hers, became one of her most complicated acting challenges in the show.
Let me show you some of my own handiwork.
Jenna Ortega pushed a beloved character further, adding physicality, emotion, and creative control. She evolved as a performer and a creator. We can't wait to see what's next for Jenna and Wednesday. Thanks for watching Collider. See you next time.